topic of national income, where in this class we'll try to discuss the concepts of GDP, nominal GDP, real GDP, GDP deflator, GNP, NNP, national income, per capita income, personal disposable income, estimation of national income, limitations of national income estimation, factors which determine national income, trends in GDP, structural changes in GDP, right? So these are the topics that we'll try to cover in today's class. So first of all, what is GDP? Right? So if you take this GDP is the total monetary value of all the goods and services produced within a country in a specified time period, right? So GDP is nothing but, right, it is the total monetary value of all the goods and services produced within the borders of the nation within a given time period. So in a given time period, so if you take this given time period, it can be a week, it can be a month, it can be an year. So normally, right, GDP is calculated per annum. So total value of all the goods and services produced in a year, right? So per annum or per year. So that is what a GDP. So here, if you see this GDP, all the values, right? All the goods, and that is value of all the goods and services produced in a year, right? So here, these goods and services are produced both by all the individuals. So here we are not just taking into account the value produced by Indian nationals, but even the value produced by other nationals. That is, it includes both nationals and foreign nationals. Right? So GDP is nothing but whatever produced in a nation, right? So that is what GDP is. So GDP is a term which determines the nation's economic health. So this GDP determines health of an economy. And it can be used, and it is used for comparing different nations. On the amount of value produced, right? So this is what GDP. And here, when we calculate GDP, or when we estimate GDP, right, it is normally done on the current year. So the value that is based upon prices prevailing in that corresponding year. It is based upon the prevailing prices. So that is what, say for example, if you are calculating what you call GDP in 2020. So let us talk about 2020, because as 20 has not been completed. So 2019, right? So whatever the value that is arrived, we call it as nominal GDP. nominal GDP. So nominal GDP is nothing but right, the value of all the finished goods and services, the value of all the finished goods and services that an economy produces during a given year. It is calculated, that is whatever the GDP that we calculate, it is based upon the prevailing prices in that year, right? So prices that are current in the year in which the output is produced, that is what a nominal GDP is, right? Simply, when we talk about GDP, so either it can be on a nominal basis or a nominal GDP, and the other one is real GDP. Real GDP is nothing but the value of goods and services produced based upon the prices, of a base year. Alright, so if you take this real GDP, is nothing but it is the value of all the goods and services produced in a year based upon the prices of a base year. Based on the prices of a base year. Right? So here we use, that is we use prices of a selected base year to estimate the value of final goods and services, right? Say, let me take about 2015-16 as the base year. Let me take this as a base year. Alright? So whatever be the prices, alright, that is present in that base year, we round it to 100. Say in 2016-17, the prices increased by 10%. So it is 110 now. In 2017-18, if it is 20%, then the prices are 120, right? So 2018-19, if it is 30%, then the prices are 130. Say for example, right? So the value of goods and services according to 2016-17, 17-18, according to that corresponding year, we get a nominal GDP. But when we calculate the total value, when compared to this 100, we will get the real GDP. So to get real GDP, we always use the prices of a selected base year. The prices of a selected base year to arrive the real GDP. Right? So that is what so we always take a base year. Cost of a mango. Let me simply take an example. Right? Let me take an example of a mango. Cost of a mango in 2015-16, if it is 10 rupees. If it is 10 rupees, alright, and the total production of mangoes, say for it is 100 kgs. That means the total value of the goods is 10 into 100. Prices into 100. So this is nominal GDP. So whatever we are getting here, it is 1000, right? The total value is 1000 rupees. So it is nominal GDP of 2015-16. Let me take in 2019-20. The price of kg mangoes went to say 40 rupees, right? And the total amount of production, right? It is say again it is 100 kgs. So the value of GDP is nothing but price value into quantity, that is 4000. It is 4000. So 4000 here it is nominal GDP, right? When we take 1920 as what do you call base year, but based upon, so here we see a rise in prices. You see there is a rise in prices from 10 to 40 rupees. So this trend of rise in prices, we call it as inflation. We call it as inflation. So inflation is nothing but, right, the rate or the increase in price levels. So inflation can be simply defined as rise in price levels. Alright. So now what is the total value of GDP when comparing right, while taking this base year prices, Alright. So real GDP therefore accounts, right, for the fact that if price changes but output doesn't change, the nominal GDP would change, right? So real GDP clearly states that real GDP accounts for the fact that if prices change but output doesn't changes, nominal GDP would change. So we'll take an inference from here. If price changes and output doesn't changes, output does not changes, then what will change? Nominal GDP will change. So therefore nominal GDP will change. So this is what we can infer. We see here, if we take nominal GDP, the quantity is same, that is same 100 kgs, but the prices have changed. Now what we see is a change in the nominal GDP. But here this nominal GDP, what is the rise in GDP? What is the amount of increase? What is the amount of increase in the GDP? Right? So should we say that? Should we say that it is here? It is 1000. So what is the amount of what is the change in GDP in 2015-16? It was 1000, and in 2019-20 it was 4000. So in absolute terms, right, it has increased by right. So 3000 by 1000 into 100. This is the percentage change. This is the percentage change. So it is 300% change. The GDP has increased by 300%. But here what we are doing is we are not taking the change in the prices, right? So real GDP always takes into account the change in the price levels, the inflation into account. Real GDP calculates GDP by taking inflation into account, right? So real GDP is also calculated by using GDP deflator. It is also calculated by GDP deflator, right? So this is what about nominal GDP and real GDP, right? So when we talk about GDP, we take both this nominal as well as real GDP. So real GDP is nothing but total value of final goods and services that an economy produces during a given year, accounting for inflation. Right? It is calculated using the prices of a selected base year. Right? So this is what about nominal and real GDP. So next, coming to other terms, GDP deflator. Coming to the word of GDP deflator, right? So GDP deflator measures changes in the prices for all goods and services produced in an economy. GDP deflator measures changes in prices for all goods and services produced in a year. So just the same example. So how prices got changed from 2015 to 2020, right? So it measures price changes in all the goods and services. So GDP may rise or it may fall, right? So depending upon the inflation or rising prices. So GDP deflator shows the extent of price changes on GDP by using base year, right, and comparing the current prices with that base year. So it is simply nothing but it is simply right. So it simply measures GDP rise or fall. So here we have a word called as deflator, deflation. Deflation of what? Deflation of GDP, fall down of the GDP. So GDP may rise or it may fall depending upon the price levels. Depending upon the price levels. Alright. So GDP shows the extent of price changes. The price changes. GDP deflator shows the impact of price changes on GDP. Right? So here what we are doing is we are selecting a base year. We are selecting a base year and we are comparing the current prices. Comparing the current prices with that of base year. With that of the base year. Alright. So that is what GDP deflator shows. So GDP deflator is also called as implicit price deflator. It is also called as implicit price deflator. Implicit price deflator. So that is what GDP deflator is. Simply we can also get GDP deflator by dividing nominal GDP with the real GDP. Dividing nominal GDP to that of real GDP into 100. So by this we can measure the changes in the prices. So we can measure price changes. So this GDP deflator is used, right? GDP deflator is used to understand the impact of prices. Say if the value of goods in 1 year is say $1,000, the value of goods say in 2017-18, think it as 1,000. Think it as 1,000, and the value of the goods produced in 2018-19, think it as 1,200. Now what is the change? What is the increase in output? What is the increase in output? So it is simply nothing but $1,200 minus 1,000 divided by 1,000 into 100. into 100. So it stands around 200 by 1,000 into 100. So it is 20%. It is rise is 20%. It is from 2017-18 to 2018-19, with the period of 1 year, the value of GDP has increased by 20%. But here we are not accounting the price levels. Think that if prices have increased, if prices increase by 10%, if prices increase by 10%, then right, the real GDP would be, instead of 1200, it would be 1100. Right? So this is what about GDP deflator is. Right? Let us move towards. Right. So this is what the concepts of GDP deflator. Next, coming to gross national product. So just now we have seen that GDP is nothing but the total value of all goods and services produced both by nationals as well as Indian nationals, both by citizens as well as foreign nationals. Right? So gross national product is nothing but the value of final goods and services. Value of final goods and services produced within a nation, right? But here we remove the value of foreign nationals, value of goods and services produced by foreign nationals. So the value contributed by foreign nationals, because it goes to their home country, not to our country. So it is being removed, and whatever Indian nationals earn, contribute to their nation from outside. So earnings, remittances contributed by Indian nationals. From outside. So it is simply nothing but, right, the value contributed by, right? So if take this GNP is nothing but GDP minus value of foreign nationals plus value contributed by Indian nationals. From outside, working from outside, Indian national from outside. Right? That is what GNP is, gross national product. Gross nationals, that is, so the value contributed by nationals both within the nation as well as from outside the nation. So value contributed by nationals from within the nation as well as from outside the nation. Right? So this is what gross national product. Right? So when depreciation is removed from this gross, depreciation means the wear and tear, the consumption, right? When depreciation is removed, GNP minus depreciation, right? So we get NNP, net national product, we get net national product. So if you take this net national product, it is calculated by taking GNP and then subtracting the value of how much depreciation took place. Simply it is nothing but NNP GNP minus depreciation. Right? So this is what about net national product. So whatever we have arrived, it is at market prices. So this is NNP at market prices, that is the current prevailing prices, the current prices. Right? So NNP at constant prices, at factor cost, we call it as national income. NNP at factor cost is called as national income. So this NNP at factor cost NNP at current constant prices, NNP at constant prices is arrived by removing the net taxes, right? Removing the net taxes, we arrive at NNP at factor cost, also called as national income, right? So NNP at factor cost is nothing but national income. It is arrived by NNP net national product at market prices minus net taxes. It is nothing but all the indirect taxes paid plus subsidies, all the indirect taxes paid and from the subsidies given, simply NNP at market prices minus indirect taxes plus subsidies. So we arrive at NNP at factor cost, which is also called as national income, national income. Right? So per capita income is arrived per capita income is arrived by dividing national income with that of population. With that of population. So we get per capita income. Right. Now coming to personal disposable income. Personal disposable income. Right. So it is nothing but the income, the personal income of the individual minus direct taxes. Personal income of the individual minus direct taxes. So it is the income left. The income left with the individuals after paying the taxes. That is the income of the individual which can be used by the individual. Right. So this is nothing but income that is usable by the individual. Right. So this is what personal disposable income. Right. So we come across another word, that is gross value addition. Right. Gross value addition. So if you take this gross value addition, sometimes we see this, and even in fact nowadays, right, economy is measured in terms of the value added. So what is gross value addition? So it is nothing but it is a measure of total output and an income in the economy. It is a measure of total output and income in the economy. Right? It provides a rupee value for the amount of goods and services produced in an economy after deducting the input cost as well as cost on raw materials. So it is nothing but the value of all the goods and services produced, value of all the goods and services produced after removing the input cost as well as the cost on raw materials. Cost on the raw materials. Now here, even if you take this GDP is also nothing but the total value of all goods and services produced in an economy. And here, even in GVA, we are saying that it is a value of goods and services. Now, what is exactly the difference between the GDP and GVA? So, in GDP, we also use private consumption. So in fact GDP is nothing but C, which stands for private consumption, gross investment in the economy, gross private investment. Gross investment in the economy, private and public investment, I. So consumption, private consumption. Government spendings, government spendings. So we also call it as government expenditure. And the net trade, that is exports minus imports. Simply in an equation form we can say it as C plus I plus E plus exports minus imports, right? So this is what GDP is. So in GDP we measure economic growth or economy from the consumer point of view, from the consumer side. So here output is measured. Output is measured from consumer side. Consumer side or from the demand side. Whereas GVA, it gives a picture of economy from the producer side or supply side. GVA, it gives a picture of the economy. Picture of economy from supply side. From supply side or producer side. Supply side or producer side. Alright. So now whether GDP and GVA are always equal, one point to discuss is whether GDP and GVA will be equal. That is what our question mark is. Now both measures the economy, both measures the output of the economy. Now when we are measuring, irrespective of the way, irrespective of the measure that we are taking, the output should be equal. Now by using this logic, can we say that GDP and GVA give same measure? Alright? So answer is no. The answer is no. The reason is, alright, so GVA gives the final output, gross value added. So after removing all the taxes, all the depreciation, right, all the input costs, raw material costs, so GVA will be lesser when compared to the GDP. GVA will be lesser, it will be lesser than GDP. So GDP will be always higher than the gross value added. So to exactly measure the output of an economy, right, it is GVA which gives the exact measure of the output, right? So that is the reason why most of the economies, they use GVA as a measure of output of the economy. whereas GDP measures, it is more useful in comparing the output, in comparison of the output. So this is what about GDP, GVA, right? So how this national income is estimated? How national income is estimated? So let us cross check. So we have discussed GDP, we have discussed nominal GDP, real GDP, GDP deflator, gross national product, national net national product, national income, per capita income, personal disposable income, right? So apart from this, we have also discussed about GVA, gross value addition, right? So now let us have a discussion on the estimation of national income. How this national income is estimated? What are different ways of estimating the national income? So now let us talk about estimation of national income. How national income is measured, measurement of national income, right? So there are three methods. Of estimating the national income. One is called as value method, also called as product method. Second one is called as income method, and third one is called as expenditure method. Alright. So the first one is, that is value method. If we take this value method, it is simply nothing but measurement of gross value added. So it is, we can also call it as measuring the total value of final goods and services produced in an economy. So here we include consumer goods, right? We include gross domestic private investment, we include production, that is production in the government sector, that is government spendings, production in government sector, as well as last one, net exports. Net exports, nothing but it is C plus I plus government expenditure plus X minus M. This is the value method. So whatever we have discussed about GDP, whatever we have discussed till now on GDP, it is nothing but a value method. Income method of estimating the national income. So if you take this income method, it is the total income received. So if you take this, so we have discussed about value method. Now coming to income method. So you take this income method, right? So the national income, right, made by the factors of production, right? It is nothing but the sum of compensation of employees in the form of rent, interest and profits made to the owners of factors of production, right? Simply, in a very simple form, total income produced or earned by the factors of production, that is nothing but, right, payment made to the factors of production. So these payments made to factors of production. Now this is a business house, right? So let me example. I'll try to give an example. So this payment will be in the form of rents, interest, profits, compensation paid to the owners of the factors of production. Right? Apart from this, the net income received from abroad, that is net income produced by Indian nationals, income received from abroad, that is remittances, income produced by nationals. Right? So this is what income method. Right. Coming to third method, that is production method. Expenditure method. So here GDP or national income is measured by way of measuring the final expenditure on gross domestic production. So it is measured by measuring the final expenditure on gross domestic production. So here these expenditures include private final consumption expenditure, it includes private final consumption expenditure, that is the money spent by individuals on anything, on food, on goods, on services, right? Private final consumption expenditure. Alright, the government final consumption expenditure, the government final consumption expenditure, the fixed assets, the fixed capital formation, the gross fixed capital formation, so fixed capital formation in turn depends upon the savings also, so we should also remember this point, right? Changes in stocks, changes in the stocks, the next, the expenditure made by the government both on exports as well as imports. The net expenditure made on exports as well as imports. Exports and imports. So this is what about expenditure. So these are three different ways. These are three different ways of estimating the national income. Alright. So all these three methods are combinedly used. So no single method is adopted. No single method is individually adopted to estimate the national income. All these three methods are employed in combination. So mostly it is income and expenditure method which are used in combination, right, in measuring the national income. So if you take the estimation of national income in India, right, the first estimation of national income went into, right, it was before independence. So it was first done by Dadabhai Naoroji in 1867. So Dadabhai Naoroji is the first Indian to estimate the national income in 1967-68, right? And later on scientific methods, it was first estimated by V.K.R.V. Rao. On scientific lines, it was first measured by V.K.R.V. Rao, and after independence in 1949, a national income committee was constituted under the chairmanship of P.C. Mahalanobis. National Income Committee which was chaired by P.C. Mahalanobis. P.C. Mahalanobis to estimate the national income. So, though we have these methods, there are different loopholes, there are limitations. There are limitations within the estimation of national income. Limitations in estimation of national income. So, if we take these limitations in the estimation of national income, the first is presence of large amount of non-monetized sector. The first limitation is presence of non-monetized non-monetary sector, which is mostly seen in rural areas, where it is seen in rural areas where transaction still goes on the principle of barter system. So still we see the prevalence of barter system. So transactions takes place along the principles of barter system. So this is what the another problem, disadvantage. Right. Second one is difficulties in categorization of working population. Difficulties in categorization of working population. So here the occupational distribution of working population in India is not very clearly defined, right? Every individual, right, if you take the working population or the labor force in India, they tend to work in 2 to 3 sectors. They don't stick on to one single sector. We see the same individual working in 2 sectors. Now it will be difficult to estimate the income because of this duplication. So there is no clear conception of occupation of the individual. No clear occupations, right? That is the same individual getting engaged in 2 or more occupations. This is one thing. Lack of reliable data. Lack of reliable data. Alright, so we get much of the data from the surveys, but these surveys are mostly done in organized sector without having much, without taking data much from the unorganized sector, right? So data is mostly taken from organized and formal sectors, but the focus on unorganized sector, the spread of unorganized sector is very high, where it is difficult to bring out the reliable data. Regional disparities. Regional disparities, right? You see high amount of internal migration. High amount of internal migration, right? So existence of black money, so all these are the factors, that limit the estimation of national income. So I'll stop the class here. We'll continue the remaining class tomorrow. Do you have any doubts?